Welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving into a political dumpster fire that could make the first 4 years of the Trump administration look like a picnic in the park. That's right, folks. We're talking about a potential second Trump presidency and what that could mean for the world as outlined by Michael Cox. Now, you might be thinking, isn't that a bit dramatic? And to that, I say, have you met the United States government lately? Because things are about as stable as a Jenga tower built on a waterbed. We're talking about a man who once suggested we inject bleach to cure a virus, folks. Who knows what kind of diplomacy he'd unleash on the world with 4 more years? Michael Cox has some thoughts on this, and let's just say they're not pretty. We're talking strained alliances, trade wars, and enough geopolitical tension to make a yoga instructor spontaneously combust. So strap in, dear viewers, because things are about to get bumpy. First on the chopping block, we have Ukraine. Now, you might remember Trump's little impeachment kerfuffle involving this very country. You see, Trump's love for Putin knows no bounds, even if it means throwing our allies under the bus. His whole negotiation strategy with Russia basically boils down to throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. The problem is, what usually sticks is a big fat question mark over our commitment to our allies. European NATO members are already sweating bullets over Trump's demands for increased defense spending. Can you blame them? 1 minute he's praising dictators, the next he's threatening to pull out of NATO altogether. It's enough to give Angela Merkel an existential crisis. And what about Ukraine? They're stuck between a rock and a hard place, desperately needing support against Russian aggression, but unsure if Uncle Sam will have their back. It's like trying to win a staring contest with a magic eye poster. Confusing, unpredictable, and likely to give you a headache. And let's be clear, folks, this isn't just about Ukraine. A weakened NATO benefits one man and one man only, Vladimir Putin. He's basically the geopolitical equivalent of that kid in school who steals your lunch money and then offers to sell it back to you at a markup. So, yeah, a second Trump term could spell disaster for Ukraine and NATO. But hey, at least Putin will be happy, right? And that's what really matters, isn't it? Next up, let's talk about China, shall we? Because nothing says stable foreign policy like a good old-fashioned trade war. Trump's love affair with tariffs is well documented. And by love affair, I mean toxic relationship that leaves everyone miserable. But it's not just the tariffs, folks. It's the whole America First rhetoric that has China seeing red, and not the communist kind. It's like Trump's trying to win a game of poker by throwing his cards at the other players and yelling, "I have the best hand, you're all losers." Now, I'm no expert, but that's not exactly a winning strategy. And the thing is, even if some pro-business Republicans want to cozy up to China, the anti-China sentiment in the US is about as strong as a double espresso. So Trump's stuck between a rock and a hard place. Appease his base, or risk a full-blown economic Cold War with the world's second largest economy. And if you think the trade war was bad, just wait until you see what happens when Trump starts tweeting angry emojis at Xi Jinping. Let's move on to the Middle East, shall we? Because if there's one thing the world needs right now, it's more instability in a region that's already more volatile than a teenager's emotions. Now, Biden hasn't exactly been winning any popularity contests in the Middle East, but here's the thing. Trump's hardline approach to Iran makes Biden look like a goddamn diplomat. We're talking about a level of tension that could curdle hummus, folks. Trump's decision to pull out of the Iran nuclear deal was like trying to put out a grease fire with gasoline. It didn't work, it made everything worse, and now we're all left smelling like burnt popcorn. And the scariest part? A second Trump term could push Iran even closer to the edge, destabilizing the entire region and making the Syrian civil war look like a playground squabble. Meanwhile, Russia and China are licking their chops, ready to swoop in and fill the void left by the US. It's like watching your 2 least favorite co-workers take over your project while you're stuck in a meeting that could have been an email. Hold on to your hats, folks, because we're about to enter the eye of the economic hurricane global trade. Now, remember those tariffs we talked about earlier? Well, Trump's got a whole new batch of them just waiting in the wings. We're talking a 10% tariff on all imports. That's right, everything. From avocados to iPhones. If it's not made in America, it's getting slapped with a tariff. Now you might be thinking, Lala too? That doesn't sound so bad. A little extra tax never hurt anyone. But here's the thing. Tariffs are like mosquitoes. 1 or 2 are annoying, but a whole swarm can suck the life out of an economy. And the countries hit hardest? You guessed it. Our allies. Europe, Canada, Mexico, they're all going to feel the burn. It's like Trump's playing a game of economic whack-a-mole, But instead of a mallet, he's using a rusty chainsaw. And let's not forget about foreign aid. Trump's plan to slash it even further is like taking a fire extinguisher to a dumpster fire. It might put out a few flames, but it's not going to solve the underlying problem, and it's definitely going to piss off a lot of people. Finally, let's talk about the global south, because what happens when the US turns inward? Well, someone else steps up to fill the void. And in this case, that someone is a tie between Russia and China. Now, I'm not saying that Russia and China are benevolent actors on the world stage. They've got their own agendas, and those agendas don't always align with the best interests of the global south. But here's the thing, they're willing to show up. While the US is busy building walls and starting trade wars, Russia and China are busy building alliances and investing in infrastructure. It's like showing up to a potluck with a sleeve of saltine crackers while everyone else brought their A game. And the countries of the global south are taking notice. They're seeing who's there for them, who's willing to invest in their future, and who's stuck in a perpetual cycle of self-interest. So, yeah, Trump's America First policies might sound good on paper, but in reality, they're leaving the US isolated, resented, and increasingly irrelevant on the global stage. So, there you have it, folks. A glimpse into the potential global chaos of a second Trump presidency. It's a world of strained alliances, economic uncertainty, and enough geopolitical tension to make a yoga instructor spontaneously combust. But hey, at least we'll have those sweet, sweet tariffs to keep us warm at night, right? Thanks for watching. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth analyses on global politics and economics. See you next time.